just watch Sky Sports Behind the Ropes with Cleverly vs Bellew. Would seriously recommend it. If you're going to watch one piece of programming before the fight, make it this rather than the ringside or the gloves are off. For me, this was the superior bit of footage. It's interesting. It's not as stale as previous sort of discussions that seem to be going round and round in circles. You get a real insight into the fighters' lives and training camps. It's actually filmed very well as well and produced very nicely. It's really well put together. Brief examples would be you get to see Nathan Cleverly's training, how he does running, some sort of circuit running training. Nathan Cleverly going for lunch with his trainer. You get to meet Cleverly's girlfriend. I don't know what he saw in her. For the gentleman watching, she is a serious looking woman. Tony Bellew, you get to see some of his work with his trainer Dave Caldwell. You get to just get a bit more of an insight into the fighters as people. For me, it's it's a real sort of novel program, very different to the other sort of ringside and gloves are off. So I'd strongly recommend it. From a boxing perspective, there's a few things that I picked up on that I wanted to highlight briefly. Now, I hope people who watch my videos regularly aren't getting bored of this, because if you do watch my videos regularly, you'll know I'm a big fan of Cleverly. You know I've seen him fight live. You'll know I think he's a good guy and a real serious talent boxer. Whereas you'll probably get the impression that I'm not a fan of Bellew. I think he's an overrated fighter and a bit of a big mouth. So I don't want to just repeat myself and go around in circles here, but I'll make a few comments specific to the program I've just watched. Tony Bellew, and to an extent his trainer Dave Caldwell, but largely Tony Bellew, make repeated jibes at Cleverly for him being an athlete, for the way he views himself as an athlete. Be careful, Tony, we've got an athlete coming to fight us, etc. They make a big joke out of the fact that he does insanity workouts and Pilates. It's all very humorous, but I think at the end of it, Tony Bellew does view Nathan Cleverly as this flowery athlete type figure, rather than a serious boxer puncher like he views himself. And it's quite easy to make a joke out of it. But what Tony Bellew should remember is, how did Clev win the first fight? Did Cleverly win the first fight by being a massive puncher? No. He won the fight due to his attributes, or in other words, due to his athleticism. By attributes, I mean boxing attributes, a jab, defence. But I think a large part of attributes is also movement, footwork, fitness. And I think a lot of that comes down to athleticism. Now, if we combine the fact that Cleverly looks to be a seriously big man at cruiserweight, he's got big shoulders, big legs, and looks like he's setting his feet a bit more when he punches, combined with that athleticism that Tony Bellew seems to find so funny, he's in for a very long night. Tony Bellew's asked at one point, what do you make of Cleverly's claims that, his punch output's better than yours? And Bellew goes, he's got a fair case there, but the difference with me and Cleverly is I only need one punch to win it. I think Tony Bellew's got that wrong. He doesn't need one punch to win it. Tony Bellew isn't a massive puncher. He's knocked out 2 people at cruiserweight. So has Nathan Cleverly. Cleverly took a lot of shots from Bellew in the first fight, and he didn't look bothered by it. He didn't look like he was about to get stopped. Make no mistake, Tony Bellew can whack a bit, but it's not a simple case of he needs one punch and the fight's over. Also, I think Nathan Cleverly's got a pretty good chin. Yeah, he got handled by Sergei Kovalev, as Bellew did with Adonis Stevenson. I'm prepared to write both of those pieces of form off. But look how wobbled Bellew is against Valery Brudov. Look at Bellew getting dropped by Oval McKenzie. Look at Bellew getting dropped by Bob Adjusaf, I think there's a reasonable case to say that Cleverly has got a better chin than Bellew. I also think there's a reasonable case to say that a cruiserweight Cleverly could punch harder than a light heavyweight Cleverly, than a light heavyweight Bob Adjusaf, than a light heavyweight Oval McKenzie, who I know is a big puncher. But Cleverly will be coming into this at 14.5 stone. Give credence to the fact that he can whack a bit at that weight as well. He stopped both of his opponents, even though they haven't been world beaters. So, for me, it's all very well and good joking about Cleverly being an athlete. But this is a guy who wins fights with his feet, with his hand speed, with his combinations, with his fitness, with his movement, with his elusiveness. Athleticism is very, very important. And if Cleverly loses the fight, if Bellew loses the fight by having someone dance around the ring, evading his punches and jabbing him, he needs to seriously question why he found it so funny. Dave Colwell goes on to say, yeah, Cleverly's got a better body. Look at Enzo Macronelli, look at Joe Calzaghe, fellow Welsh fighters of same sort of weight. They didn't have a ripped up six-pack like Cleverly does. Being sort of ripped up and looking like you're carved in stone doesn't mean anything. To an extent, he's right. You don't need to have a six-pack to win the fight. But as I say, Clever's a guy who relies on fitness, relies on movement, relies on speed. And that means that his physical approach does have to be a bit different to Tony Bellew. I dare say if Bellew was looking to dance around the ring really quickly using movement and agility, he'd need to look at his gut. I also think, and this is a comment Eddie Hearn made on IFL TV, but looking at both guys, I don't think the size difference is as big. Let's not forget, Clever's cutting weight for this fight. I know it won't be a large amount of weight, but he's actually cutting weight. He's going to be coming in right on the limit. And he's still got that six-pack. For a man to have such low body fat and be underweight, for me, is a very, very promising sign. It's not something to be mocked. That's a real positive. I won't rant on for too much longer because I've said it all before and I'll probably say it all again before the fight. But for me, Cleverly is athletic. He is in good nick. He does take his athleticism seriously. Look at the sprint training he was doing. It's very impressive. But Tony Bellew could maybe take a leaf out of his book. Interested to hear people's thoughts on this. As I say, above and beyond my analysis, the actual fighters are a really well put together programme. I'm looking forward to the one tomorrow. Recommend you check it out. Thanks for watching.